Hey, that makes me think of something. Or, haven't I read that somewhere else before? Welcome to another installment in the Over My Shoulder Bible Study series. These brief videos augment the sermon I preach each week with the Missouri Street Church of Christ here in Baytown, Texas. We're currently halfway through a 3-year Bible reading project called Immerse, and this portion of the project consists of reading the Old Testament prophets. This week, we're in the book of Micah. Micah is a powerful book, and verse 8 is perhaps the verse that he's best known for. He has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God. You know, Micah was a contemporary of Hosea, and Hosea said things very much like this. I desire steadfast love and not sacrifice, the knowledge of God rather than burnt offerings. That phrase, steadfast love, is the same thing that's expressed by Micah in the words about loving mercy. It's loyal in giving mercy and kindness to others. And that walk with God, that intimate knowing of God, is alluded to here as well. Powerful words from Hosea. He said something very similar toward the end of his book in chapter 12 and verse 6. He said, As for you, return to your God, hold fast to love and justice. Sounds just like Micah. And wait continually for your God. That waiting continually for your God is very much a part of a humble walk with God. Well, we've seen how Hosea and Micah, contemporaries, have very similar messages. The same holds true for Amos, a contemporary of both of them. Here's a verse that's probably familiar to you. You may especially remember it if you're my age or so. You lived through the civil rights movement of the 1960s. Let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. The Lord wants to see the doing of right, the doing of justice for the sake of others, churning in our life, ever moving and flowing and active and working, busy, like a stream, like a flood in our heart. That's who He wants us to be. Well, Micah, Hosea, and Amos all agree. And they all sound very much like the prophet Isaiah, another contemporary. Do you recall what Isaiah said in chapter 16 and verse 5? He spoke of a time when a throne would be established in steadfast love in the tent of David, and on it would sit faithfulness, a ruler who seeks justice and is swift to do what is right, to do right by others, and to give loyal, steadfast love, kindness, compassion, and mercy. These are the things that God was looking to establish in people's lives, and indeed would do just that. Much later on in Isaiah, in chapter 57, verse 15, we hear an echo of the same. The one who is high and lofty says, His name is holy, and He dwells in the high and holy place, and also with those who are contrite and humble in spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble. He looks out for those that are perhaps downtrodden or oppressed, and He wants to do right by them. And He walks with them as He yearns for them to walk with Him. I will not continually accuse, sounds like He loves mercy, nor will I always be angry. And when the spirits would grow faint before me, even the souls that I have made, and the thought continues. Powerful, powerful material. Well, the Old Testament prophets all agree, and they too echo words that we've read elsewhere in the Psalms and in the law, especially Deuteronomy. The message has never changed. The core of God's will for people has always remained the same, Old and New Testament, no matter what age we live in. Well, you may recall, as we even think about these things, of another prophet, Zechariah. Zechariah, much later than these four that were contemporaries, Amos, Hosea, and Isaiah, and Micah. He writes these words in verse 9. The word of the Lord came to Zechariah, and he spoke, and he said, Render true judgments, show kindness and mercy to one another. And so what does it mean to do right and justice? What does it mean to give kindness and mercy? It means to not oppress other people, not to oppress the widow, the orphan, the alien, or the poor, and not to devise evil in your hearts against one another. You see, when we look in Scripture, it's the essence of Scripture is not that religion is about you and the Lord. It's a far bigger equation than that. It's about you, the Lord, and your relationship with all the other people in the world. It's a big message, isn't it? And yet it can be expressed in just a very, very few words. Don't let that deceive you into thinking that it's easy to do or not costly. I'll leave you with a single passage. It's in Matthew chapter 9, although we get the same thought repeated from the lips of Jesus in chapter 12. It's as the one who writes this gospel, Matthew, receives his calling from God. Jesus was walking along, and he saw a man called Matthew sitting at the tax booth, and he said to him, "Follow me." Start walking with God. And he got up, and he followed him. And as he sat at dinner in the house, many tax collectors and sinners came to him, sitting with him and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw this, they said to his disciples, "Why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners?" But when he heard this, he said, "Those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. Go and learn what Micah and Hosea and Amos and Isaiah and Zechariah and all the other prophets meant. I desire mercy, not sacrifice." It takes some learning, and we need to go and get on with it. I've come to call not the righteous, but sinners. Love to give mercy. Walk with your Lord in these things, and you will be doing right.